It's hard work. It's, you know, you get out a piece of paper, there's nothing to start with, you know, I mean, there's no design, there's nothing, it's straight creativity. You have to watch out that you don't sound like something else that you've heard, and you know how many songs there is. There's probably 2 billion songs been written in the last 100 years alone. So you got to watch out you don't write something. You also have to watch out, as old as fella as I am, you have to watch out that you don't write something that and it sounds like something else you've already written. That's real hard. After you've done it for so long, you have a tendency to imitate yourself in the songs and then also you try to write a song that, you know, people will like. I also try to write songs that I like. You got to remember, I just finished up my 12th album. There's 12 songs on it. I mean, I have over 150 songs out on record. That's not counting all the ones I've written that never made it to record. And when you write that many, it becomes a bricklayer, plumber job. And you just, you know, I approach it from an art standpoint sometimes. And then, you know, go, oh, I got to write a whole album here, you know, and where do I start and where do I finish? And the last one didn't sell, and what should I change? And all that. All artists go through that kind of thing. But I think the most joyous part of writing songs, to me, is being when I'm through. And I can actually listen to it like a member of, like somebody else. I can stand back and listen to my own song and go, oh, I did that, and I don't like it, or yeah, I really like that, and that's the best part. Eric Clapton had cut a song I wrote called After Midnight, and it had become real popular. That's what every songwriter kind of hopes for, is not necessarily their version of the song being real popular. If they can get somebody that's popular, that sells records, to record your song, then, I mean, that's the epitome for a songwriter. So he had cut that, and you couldn't get it off the radio. It was everywhere. And so Audie called me and said, you want to come down here? And he said, looks like you've got a hit on your hands. He said, you want to come down here and make a record? By having a successful song, that just opened up all the doors that had always been closed. This is the now version. After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang out. After midnight, we're gonna chug-a-lug and shout. We're gonna cause talk and suspicion, give an exhibition, find out what it is all about. After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang out. Lovely in-tune guitar. That song has paid my rent because they just keep re-releasing it, and there was a beer commercial here in the United States about 3 or 4 years ago, and then there was a beer commercial for Eric Clapton about 7 or 8 years ago, and then he sells tons of albums, and they keep, you know, running his albums back over as retrospectives and compilation albums, and it just, that song alone, if I'd have never made Naturally, or the other 11 albums I've made since then, that, folks, you probably don't know I've made that many, but you ought to get out there and try to dig something up, you know, help the poor. That song alone would have given me a very comfortable life. That's how much money there is involved in writing a hit song. Songwriters all know that. Most folks probably don't know that, you know, if you write a hit song, it's like discovering oil in your backyard. So I haven't had any bad times because of that song, and then plus I wrote a couple other things. He got another song of mine, and then all the other things I did that was added on to that. So I never really had any bad times as a songwriter, because I never considered myself a songwriter until I had success. Success got me a nice guitar. I mean, all success is money. That's all, and it's whatever you want to do with it. It really helps your ego. You know, you feel like you're somebody or worth something, or, you know, that's why everybody strives for success. So what I did, I went, oh, I bought me a new car. I could afford a nice guitar. You know, I could afford some help in what it was I did, you know. And that's the main thing I noticed in success is is I could acquire material things, which are basically, to a musician, are not that important, but boy, it sure makes life easier, you know. Blues show, this is a blues show, isn't it? Low down, dirty shame. Low down, dirty shame. I've had nothing but the blues since I heard your name.
Hey, come on, let's hear it for JJ. Come on, let's hear it for JJ. All right.
If I was laid back, I wouldn't be sitting here talking into a TV camera because nobody'd know who I was nor care. But because my music is laid back, people think I'm laid back. I'm really a nervous jerk, really. You know, I had to get up and move around to get people to record my songs or make records or whatever. And if you're really laid back, most people who are truly laid back are not ambitious at all. The reason some of my records sound muddy was, number one, by accident. Number two is because for a certain time in my life, I couldn't afford state-of-the-art equipment. And if you make a recording on a not state-of-the-art equipment, it's going to sound, there's not going to be a bigger frequency range on it. So I was limited because I didn't have enough money to either rent a really good studio or buy some real good equipment, and I cut a lot of records at home. My records come out muddy, right? Some people called it warm. I agreed with my critics. I called them muddy too, but then an advantage of that is it didn't really sound like anybody else. Was one advantage. It might be bad and you may not like it, but it didn't sound like nobody else, and there's something to be said for originality. If you looked on the Billboard charts of the top 100 records, you'd have a hard time finding it. There'd probably be maybe 6 or 7 blues albums on there, and the rest of them would be all kinds of different kinds of music, country music. So I think probably one of the reasons it's no more popular than it is because it was popular already. And Americans have a tendency to, you know, eat their young. Anything that's created here in America, everybody just goes hog wild over it, and then the next generation goes, oh, that's mom and dad's music, we don't want to hear that. It's not that the music was bad, but it's like my generation didn't care anything about the Frank Sinatra big band sound. Rock and roll was for the young people. The big bands were, at one time, the big bands appealed to real young people, you know? So it's probably more a generational thing. The young blacks of today don't care nothing about blues, they like rap. That's new. Blues is old grandpa's music. It may come back. Country music's real big. Country music was big in the 40s. And now it's big again, but there was a 30, 40-year period there where it was not what you call mainstream. Country music in America is almost mainstream at present. It's not, but it's real close. Blues may do that. You also, so I think that all those reasons, and then a few reasons I have no idea why it's not popular. I do know this, that musicians will always keep it popular because musicians love the blues music. It's the root of a lot of popular music of the last 50 or 60 years here in America. Now, we're only talking about America. Once you get outside this border, blues music gets real popular. Everybody likes blues, it looks like, except the Americans. And the Americans just don't care nothing about it. They're into something else that's happening, whatever it is that's happening, and it generally changes about every 5, 10 years.